Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. The Clive Barker Club has reformed, and today we're talking about Nightbreed. Of course, directed by Clive Barker and based on his novel Cabal. Tagline is 1990 American dark fantasy horror film, written and directed by Clive Barker, based on his 1988 novella Cabal. Stars Craig Sheffer, Anne Bobby, David Cronenberg, Charles Hayde, Hugh Kazari, and Doug Bradley. The film follows an unstable mental patient named Aaron Boone, who's falsely led to believe by his doctor that he's a serial killer. Tracked down by the police, his doctor and his girlfriend, Laurie, Boone eventually finds refuge in an abandoned cemetery called Midian, among a tribe of monsters and outcasts. Let's just spit those bricks out. Outcast known as the Nightbreed, who hide from humanity. The movie made $16 million on an $11 million budget. I am sensing history repeating itself. I think the Barker curse could be playing again.
Mm-hmm. For sure. This helped make the curse.
Yeah.
This is a brutal adaptation, in my opinion. Like, I know, like, they sort of retconned a lot of the issues I had with the original version in the later versions, like the Cabal cut and the director's cut specifically, which I thought was arguably the best of all of them. But I had a hard time watching this last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I just fall in love with this movie even more every time I watch it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I don't understand.
Why? This is 90s cheese. Come on, this is
that.
This is the 80s. We've left the 80s campiness and we're in the 90s cheese territory. This is pure 90s fest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's plus, I mean, fuck, it's got Canada's favorite son, Mr. Cronenberg, in it. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
Oh, I think they did.
No,
This dude has one mode, and it's just to talk like this. Zero acting chops. He can direct like a motherfucker, but fuck that dude in acting. Oh my god,
I fucking love him in it. It's just like the thing is, it's
an interesting choice.
We need a tiebreaker.
The whole movie is so cheesy that it just fits. And he is very monotone, but I almost kind of get that in a book as well. It's like he is just right here the whole time, just flat lines. It's the mask that actually is the personality, is the one that pushes him forward. And that's, I will say, that is the one thing that they didn't quite fully flesh out in the director's cut. No, of course, definitely not the original cut, is that the mask is more so the character than he is. And that's, what decides everything.
I mean, that was the strength of the character, I thought, was that he was almost like a slave to the mask's need and desires. And that's what made him really, really interesting. And it excused why he was manipulating Boone as the way he was throughout the whole film. You take that dynamic away, and it's just like a weird psychiatrist who's just, for some reason, wears a mask, and there's no real reason why.
Yeah.
If you haven't read the book, then the movie is a confusing mess.
Yeah,
like if you were just to take the movie on its own, you'd be just like, what the hell is this?
Right.
As audience.
Yeah, because I mean, really the only one to watch is the Cabal cut, but unless you really fucking want to watch it, it is unwatchable. Because it does explain in the very beginning, at least the Blu-ray that I got, that hey man, a lot of this shit's cut together with dailies because that's the only film that still exists. So it'll be just nice, beautiful shots, and then crappy VHS that's clearly been sitting in someone's basement in Georgia for the past like 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's a little rough, but yeah, I mean, at least with that, you get the full, relatively fully fleshed out movie or story.
Yeah. This is another example of why get Clive Barker if you don't understand Clive Barker?
Right. Like, they completely bastardized this movie, like just completely took all the sense out of it to try to make it a slasher when it's not a slasher.
Even the poster, because when I watched the Special Edition, I watched through all the interviews and fuck. Do you know what? This is for a Special Edition Blu-ray. The number of interviews have more interviews than anything I've watched before. Normally, you get the token 4 or 5. There's about 15 interviews in this.
Is it the Shout Factory one?
No, it was after the Shout Factory was the Cabal cut. They were the ones that put that together.
No.
I'm pretty sure the most recent Shout Factory was the director's version.
Yeah,
cut.
it was the director's cut. The Cabal cut, the only one that I've seen was the one that Barker himself released.
It wasn't the Cabal cut. This is the director's cut later on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to bring it in. No. It's this one.
He's a liar, everyone.
Look, it's got this shiny picture on it.
This channel is bullshit.
Stop trying to show people that I don't know stuff. They're under the illusion I might actually, know about horror and stuff. Stop creating the illusion here, you bastards.
Yeah, all this is a lie. It's a set behind him. You flip it around, and it's all My Little Pony stuff.
It is absolutely
right.
Talking about, I found random unicorns in my warehouse during the week.
What?
Honestly, I'm in the warehouse and I'm trying to get it organized, and fucking there's all this shit that nobody knows who it belongs to or what it is. And I'm opening boxes, fucking not even just fluffy unicorns, but the ones that kids would wear as a suit, or they might be young adult, but you actually put on as if you're riding a unicorn. Those type of. I found 4 boxes of different colored fucking unicorn suits.
You've got to wear one for a photo, man.
Absolutely.
They're in the undetermined pile, and once I figure out that I'm not going to get arrested for stealing and they're going to disappear, one of them is coming back. It's going to be. I'll be like this and show.
Oh my god, that's fantastic!
I tell you what, if you mail each of us one of those, we will all do
just do it.
Yeah, 100%. Wear it for an episode, not make mention of it at all.
Yeah,
just do it.
That'd be amazing.
That would
be. I think people don't realize what a twisted fucker. And then sometimes it sort of leaks out, and I'm almost having to rein myself in public because fucking hell.
Yeah, well, you're a Nightbreed. I mean, what do you want?
Right.
See what I did there? Yeah.
And this is such an allegory for us and people like us in general. And I know that.
So, okay, one thing I want to bring up real fucking quick, just in case my wife is watching. We're all in agreement. This is a movie based on coming out sexually as a homosexual, correct?
Yeah, considering
because that's what Clive Barker says.
If the author who wrote it says this is actually a book about my homosexuality, then you kind of take that. Yes, it is.
Thank you. I mean, she argues that shit with me all the time. She tries to argue that this is not a gay movie, and it's like it fucking is. It's all about coming out and finding your fucking tribe. Like, yeah,
right. Good.
Always
not there, but just. Clive, I'll even send the clips of the interviews. He said it in the interviews in this box. He said it in Midnight Meat Train. Remember the Midnight Meat Train? Mm-hmm. He made reference to Nightbreed about it being about his homosexuality.
Yeah.
The author said it. There's no argument. Fucking internet people.
Oh my god, we're gonna start.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't even remember the old sci-fi series Babylon 5.
Yeah.
When Jakar comes back and somebody had got his book that he was writing and published it, and then he has all these acolytes.
Oh, I never watched it. I just
the book. No. So he's going about.
Yeah.
He's sitting here with one of these acolytes, and he goes, "But the book of Jakar says," and he goes, "I was fucking angry when I wrote that bit." And so he's arguing about him about his own book that he wrote. The character. And I just feel that is so close to Barker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
No, you didn't actually mean that when you wrote it. Oh, fucking no, I wrote it.
Right.
I wonder if because our sort of collective culture has sort of shifted to be infinitely more accepting of all of that, if this film would be caught up by, a newer movement, like the trans movement, where they would identify more with it nowadays than maybe a traditional audience would.
I hope not.
Yeah, I think if this was to be remade,
I said I hope not, because they're actually dicks and they're doing more against. This is where the 90s we had it, but fucking got it sorted. Yeah, fuck off, everyone. No, but seriously, those wankers are fucking doing more harm against fucking acceptability and people coming together and causing more division. They're shite.
Send email to
D. Snyder of all people's getting canceled.
Again, back in the 90s, we already fucking done it. Cunts. Fucking done, sorted in the bag. We were fucking getting along fine, and you fucking arseholes came along. I'm nothing doing with this. I'm gonna fucking shit stir.
Wow. I don't know what's happening.
Tell us how you really feel.
Maybe when I get brave enough with a few beers on me, and get an avatar up, so I can hide myself. I might get brave enough to say what I think about things.
I mean, it's only 8:40 a.m., but I'm game.
Right? I'll walk in the next room, grab my shit, and we'll get tore up and talk some shit.
That'll be the stream to end all streams.
Fuck yeah.
That would be an example. If we did it in each other's channels, it'd be like, don't cross the streams. Bad things happen.
They ban us from collaborating.
These
into it.
These people can never be together again.
Oh fuck, that'd be funny.
No, but I really do think it would be good to, because ultimately, it's sort of that Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe, I mean, you see something that's sort of in the zeitgeist happening. You have a film that speaks to that thing, and it suddenly becomes timeless because everyone thinks in their mind that social movement is isolated to this one moment in time. But the truth is it's always going to be going on because our culture is nothing but tribalism. And so, whether it's a religious sect or it's going to be a sexual sect or a gender identity sect, I mean, there's always going to be the next stepping stone of people that are going to resonate with these ideas because these ideas at their core feed into who we are as a people. And that's wildly self-conscious, self-destructive, and afraid of everything, including our own shadows.
And sometimes groups are not cohesive. So you can't be cohesive by having a common identity. Yeah. So you need the other. Yeah. The herd needs the other. It's the only way that come together is go, at least we're not that thing.
Yeah.
And that's always been it. But I identify with us. I identify as one of Nightbreed because I'm a weirdo. And if you feel any sort of way outcast or don't fit into anything, this is you. So it shouldn't be just limited to one group owning it. Yes.
Yeah.
Clive Barker talked about his personal experiences, but I'm not a gay man, and
well, there's that one time a few years ago, but
hold on, right? When the captain gets involved, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you're drunk, it doesn't.
Captain leads me to dark places, so I hold no responsibility after I've all around me. Anybody's fucking up for it. Sorry, folks. If you're near me with a bottle of rum, I'm sorry, you're looking good.
Nah.
I mean, at least you know what you like. So I mean, that's something.
Yeah. I like it warm and wet. But you know what I mean? It's this idea that it's just one thing. Yeah, he used his personal experience and he talked about his own journey and he put it into his novel and he made it accessible because he's a good storyteller and he didn't want to preach. He didn't want to be a political activist. He wanted to be a guy that told stories. So that's why when these arseholes are long forgotten and the next cool thing to fucking stamp your feet about comes on, Clive Barker will still be here and he'll still be loved and he'll still be misunderstood by studios who are thick as fuck.
I mean, he physically may not still be here.
No, but in spirit, what more of a legacy can you leave behind?
He's a ghost just whacking off behind you.
Do you know what? And he's probably
that'd be fantastic.
He's probably into that shit.
That better be ectoplasm, damn it.
Oh god, I still can't forget his last one. He goes out because he'd nicked one of the pieces off set and he started using it in his sexual practices and he's getting himself excited, scared the fucking director. Like, yeah, you never change, my man, never change.
Yeah. Right. He is a national treasure that's not even ours. But he's ours,
yeah,
goddammit.
He's yours, damn it.
Yeah,
give him up.
He changed his accent, he became like full dumb Yankasani, so
dude, that was definitely the funny thing. I was like with the Shout Factory edition, it has like the introduction of him and what's his bucket, the guy that put all this shit together. I mean, first off, it's fucking hilarious because he's got his lav mic on, but he's sitting like this, so he's covering his microphone the whole fucking time, at least like halfway through. But yeah, it was so weird to hear him talking. It's like, oh god, where'd that accent come from? That's You're one of us now.
Yeah, it's another one. That's the example. Somebody leaves. Like he was hanging about the theatre circuit in London from he's like 19. That's how he started out. So when you do that and then move away places, you kind of delete unless you're a stubborn bastard. And
I will not lose it.
Well, it's so funny because you look at him and Doug Bradley, who grew up together, like literally grew up together. And Bradley lived stateside as well, but he still held on to that accent, whereas Barker's is like damn near gone.
Yeah, and they worked in the same theatre circuit together.
Yeah, like well, they were in
Mad
fucking
Dog
school
Theatre.
and all that.
Yeah, they're like school buds.
Yeah, but and that was the thing as well. This was sorry, thanks for fucking jumping all over my notes. Like you know, fucking okay, ding ding ding. All we're talking about is like, okay, we're going from here to here to here to fucking. Oh god. Is that the way the studio feels in the David Barker movies? Oh fuck, I give up. Yeah, slasher.
Probably they just go off on a tangent while they're talking about it, and then it just turns into something that's not supposed to be.
That could be what's happened.
Yeah, the focus of this film is like all over the place too. Like the story for me, the main focus of the story is through Laurie. Like she is our window into this world of oddity and of craziness because we're following her the most of the time. The film starts with Boone and then it goes to Laurie and then it just sort of like ping pongs around like we just were with your notes. I mean, it's just like wild abandon, like reckless abandon. It doesn't make any sense about who you're supposed to be like identifying with in the film. You know, usually there's like a protagonist and antagonist, and this, because it's so just sort of scattershot, I don't know what I'm supposed to be focusing on, who I'm supposed to be identifying with. I mean, it's very, very obscure.
Yeah, because the book focuses on Boone and his mental health problems.
His premature ejaculation and impotence.
Yeah, but you know, it was
that'll do it.
I was like, I identify.
Yeah, we've all
me
had
on
those
the
things.
page. Too much whiskey.
Sometimes it's a bit too warm, too wet. You know what I mean? You get too excited. Sometimes it's still alive. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes the weed won't let you get there.
Yeah,
that is true.
But yeah, I don't know. It's we know what a mess the theatrical cut came out as. We just know it was absolutely butchered, and every other iteration has been an attempt to repair it. And you know they're still not happy. Like this was the last time the old Hellraiser crew.
Yeah.
Barker, Doug Bradley, the other actors, the makeup artists, all them guys were together. Because after this movie, they went their own separate ways. And never
I mean, it fucking makes sense. Like it's studio interference. Like why keep it together?
But like I said, the interviews are scathing. Like I've never heard special effects. So everyone of that group and it was involved in this movie is pissed off and angry and just so open about it too that they hate the studio. Absolutely despise the studio for what they've done because they were the budget was decent for this. They were making a spectacle because you can't deny the fact that especially the catacombs and the Midian itself. Yeah. God, the set pieces in this are amazing. It's like they hired a bunch of circus performers as well. I know the one that played her with spikes. She was like a you know, like a circus artist. You know, that's what they hired all these people.
Yeah,
they hired all these folks in. They were making an absolute spectacle, and because the story got so convoluted and chopped up and fucking mismarketed. Such a waste,
right? I think there's so much more wrong with this film than just the editing. Like watching this again, I think the biggest problem, and I hope this isn't controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway, is Danny Elfman. That score sucks so bad.
It kills me to agree with you, but I agree because it doesn't fit at all. Because it feels like any other sort of like proper Elfman score, like Beetlejuice, Edward
Exactly.
Scissorhands, shit like that, where it's heightened reality, it's horror that's happy, and this isn't. Like, this is a dark, dirty secret, like hidden away out in the sticks type of thing, and it doesn't fit. That usually does take me out of the movie a little bit, but
Especially that intro
very
scene.
off.
It's supposed to be a dream. When Reed's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and he was like all like boop doop 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 doop, like fucking crazy music. Well, he's supposed to be like hard tripping, like in a sex dream.
Yeah.
Fucking weird, man. And the whole time I was just thinking, my wife was like calling out, "Oh, that's Beetlejuice. Oh, that's this. That's this." I'm like, "Fucking Elfman, man! Stop
Yeah.
referencing all your other shit and do an original goddamn score for this." Because if that score landed, it would be a completely different tonal experience, and that would then add to the enjoyment, even of a chopped up version. But you take us out audibly, and we can't connect visually.
It's amazing the components. Like, you read the book, and your mind fills in all the blanks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you've got good descriptive writing. Still, us three could read the same passage, and like our minds would visualize something completely different. But once you put it onto the screen, once you add lighting can take you out of it, music can take you out of it, dialogue can take you out of it, special effects can take, you know what I mean? There's so many elements that could trip up each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm starting to think now that the 90s in general was like some huge experiment.
It was a huge mistake. Is what it was.
It's like,
Yeah.
the 80s had it sort of cracked with the campiness and cheesiness, and all they needed to do was get the special effects a bit, you know, up there. That's all they needed to do. On 80s formula was just get the special effects up the standard, and we had a chance for an absolute golden age of movies. Then the 90s happened, and I don't know what drugs people were taking, but obviously weren't working the same, you know.
Yeah.
Well, if it was the 90s, it was probably a lot of LSD, at least in my area.
Disco Biscuits bringing ecstasy and all that stuff around.
Oh, really?
Rave. It was a rave time, yeah. It was 90s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of ecstasy in the 90s too, yeah.
Small box, large box.
Woman! I just have lightsabers.
Fuck yeah.
People falling down, like decapitated in the fucking dance. All right, now I want to see that. That's a movie.
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that.
Well, we can go to directors though. Start poking at them and going, "Oi, make this."
Right.
Make this so we can slag it off.
Yeah. No, like reading Cabal was a wonderful experience because, again, you know, to your point, you're imagining everything in your head. You're feeling the emotional sort of a discord between the different characters, especially between Boone and Decker, and then from Decker and his mask. Visually, because you can't see the monsters of the Nightbreed, I imagine them much better than they came out in the actual film. So that when I do see the film, I feel like it's a little Muppet-like, and it kind of bothers me because I wanted it to be a little bit more.
They were shapeshifters. Every one of them was shapeshifters, but here, the best thing I can do is like a cabaret circus act. You know, that's basically what it was.
It's like Cirque du Soleil on shrooms or something, but without the shrooms. The reason you have them involved is to make it believable and crazy. Now it's just like, what the fuck is
that
going
guy
on?
with the snake tentacles coming out of his belly was the worst one.
Oh my god!
That it was worse than The Stuff. If you've ever seen The Stuff, right? You
know
scene, you know that guy that's transformed. It takes like half an hour, and the girl's like going and he's like going like that was him waiting for these fucking snake tentacles. Like, why did they have to come round the shoulders first? Could have just went straight out, but no, they went around, and then they did a wee twisty thing, and then eventually the pop. It was like, oh Jesus Christ!
I just think it's funny that that's what bothers you, but like the thing that bothers me most about him is his fucking voice, like so high pitched. And, well, here we go. It's like, what the fuck is that? I'm supposed to be scared of that.
Oh man, he was so fucked up looking. Again, pulling a little bit of Beetlejuice coming with those tentacles. At least that's the vibe I got from it. And it was just like the poor man's version of a scary Beetlejuice, like trope. Just gross. Fucking I just like, I want Michael Keaton in a horny jacket. Give me that, and I will be more entertained than watching this weird guy.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, what did you call him? And actually, in Beetlejuice, the interior designer bloke.
Oh fuck! The hell was his name?
The actor or the character?
No, the character.
I can't remember the dude's name.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Well,
He was in Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure.
Yeah, it was like him if he got transformed.
Yeah, straight up.
He had like a lap band surgery, and then it sort of went south.
Right.
Yeah, or if he got killed and then came back as a ghost, and then that's basically what he would have been.
Maybe that's what this is. This is the unofficial sequel to Beetlejuice. That's what they were trying to do.
If it's the only version we're getting, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird, though.
I tell you what, when I first watched this movie years ago, I had a major problem connecting the Boone.
Mm-hmm.
Just couldn't read the guy at all. And plus, leather jackets and white t-shirts was like such an old hat thing.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. Oh,
Dude.
I copied that for so many years. That was my shit in the 90s. But yeah, it looks so cool. It was like watching the George Michael's video for Faith. Like that was in my head was the most masculine, manly thing ever. And then later on, when I realized that it actually was the opposite, I was like, you know what? I'm still gonna own it. Like it's
right. I'm already this far in, whatever.
Yeah, gotta double down. That's the way.
The whole time I was like, did they want to cast Patrick Swayze? Because they looked like
also in Beetlejuice.
Thank you. Yeah.
There we go. Thanks for that, Joe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's
it definitely is like straight up Dirty Dancing Patrick Swayze. They're like, that's what we want, but we can't afford it, so let's get this guy instead.
This poor man's fucking his like everything about that actor bothers me. And like it's not the character, because I really like the character. I love the situation. I don't think the character got its just desserts in this film, because you get a dynamic sense that in the short story, the character is actually still struggling. When we start this film, he's like totally good. Like there's zero problems. And he's
having like his last therapy session or something, you know.
Well, he's not even having
he's not even going to therapy.
Decker's like, you have to come here. Like creepy like.
Right.
Did
anybody not know within the first 5 minutes that Decker was the bad guy?
Yeah, I mean it was pretty obvious.
Like 5 minutes in this, I wonder who the villain is. Aha!
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's like you see that David Cronenberg's in a film, like a monster movie. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, clearly he's the bad guy the second you see him.
Bit weird of being, I don't know, maybe it's an ego thing, but you wouldn't expect him to be in like Clive Barker's movie, worried about overshadowing himself. It kind of make you.
I love that story about how he got him in, because Clive Barker, like in his head, that was the character Decker, and so he went to him, and Cronenberg was like, "No, like why would I do that? I'm a director, like I'm a writer, I'm a producer." And he had to sort of mildly convince him to go in, and he didn't even still feel like he fucking fit in, which I
do love the behind the scene photos of him directing Cronenberg. It's just like, oh my God, how fucking intimidating would that be? Like, I would be so scared. Like, is this okay, Mr. Cronenberg? Do you think we should do it a different way? I mean, whatever you say goes.
Did I do a good job? Yeah, for sure. Cronenberg is like a straight man Spangler from Ghostbusters. Like he just has that vibe. Like I could see him in like a long trench coat, giving people candy bars, or I don't know, just like kind of creepy. Like the thing is, like when we first meet the psychiatrist, like trying to convince Boone to come in, even though Boone's like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "But there's murders happening," and Boone should be like, "Well, then stop killing people, because you're clearly the bad guy." Like, right? Stop calling me.
End of the movie, right? Movie done, over.
Yeah. So okay, let me ask you guys this, because the more I like read the novel and then watch the film, the only reason, like, Boone is a Nightbreed, but the only reason why he becomes a Nightbreed is because he was bit and then killed and came back as Nightbreed. But then there are people who are just natural Nightbreeds, and then you can just like turn people who aren't Nightbreeds, but then could come back to Nightbreeds that are just normies. You could make normies into Nightbreeds, like Lori at the very end. So what's the point of like, if this is about gay people coming out, is he making a statement that you can turn people gay? Is that what this is?
I don't think it's that. I think that it's inside of you already, and it's the people that are just on the outside, like from the get-go. They're out there because they're not hiding. They're the ones that
that's the danger of thinking through the lens of this modern fucking, conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He was, when he was telling about, he cut that aspect of the story through Boone's struggle. So it's obviously a struggle he had, which, funny enough, I don't see Barker having a struggle. Like, if anyone could have, apart from putting feather boas on like Freddie Mercury, he seemed to have embraced it pretty well. Maybe a bit too well. That's why he's a bit sick now.
Right, but but like in the 80s, it was hard. I mean, 80s.
Oh, proper 80s
was hard for everyone. Like,
it's not even about. See, everyone's once again put in the boxes, but if you're anyway outside the norm, the 80s was a very conformist time. We use the rave culture. If you were a rocker, a metaler, and everyone you went to school with was all in the rave because that was a thing, you were hounded.
Yeah.
If you didn't like the same football team, the same soap operas, or the same music, that was it. You were an outcast.
It means soccer.
There's plenty of these going your directions today, Adam. Pew, pew, pew.
I feel like you're doing it wrong, man. You're talking about fucking football, not soccer. It's got to be this shit.
Yeah. You're cross culture in here.
Well, I was trying to translate.
Yeah. No, I
so
get
that's too complicated for you guys.
I've accepted it.
Oh man.
I'm just busting balls. No, but I mean, you're right. I mean, I love that. I love that we can celebrate now about how difficult it was then, because I do feel like nowadays everything is just sort of like, nah, whatever, do your thing. It's cool.
Well, God, even like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was that way. I mean, fuck, I was the only fucking punk rocker in the high school that I went to. Well, at least the first high school I went to, until I got kicked out, because it was easier to kick me out than the football team, half the staff, and all that shit.
Yeah. Keep telling us how easy it was.
Yeah. Tell me how fucking easy that was, getting your ass kicked every day because you had a mohawk and we're Indian. Yeah. So it's something that is very relevant to, I mean, really any time. Like, you're always going to find that one aspect that there's going to be an outsider, regardless of the cultural climate. And that's why it blows my mind that this isn't a more celebrated movie. I mean, yeah, it has its faults. I mean, it's fucking 90s cheese. The effects are just a hair over the top, and it doesn't necessarily fit with the story that they're trying to perceive. But at its core, the story is still something that fucking weirdos and freaks can latch onto and appreciate.
Yeah. There's all, like I said, it's human nature, and the minute we start denying what we're like as people, we know we're dickheads. You know what I mean? That's what we are. We just accept it, and if you want to get along in life, try not to be too much of one. And find people at least resonate with you. If you have to put on your mask to get on through the day in society, so be it. It's not, you're not compromising yourself. You're just getting on.
Right. That's just basic psychology.
Yeah.
I think maybe my biggest problem with this film is that it seems like everyone is trying, as soon as they find out that there's a Midian, as soon as they find out that there's a Nightbreed, everyone wants to be that. And that echoes like the hot topic culture of the 90s, everyone wanting to be like the bad guy. And so there's really no such thing as a bad guy, because everyone looks like the bad guy. But, and certainly in things that we're involved with, you get that a lot too, just wanting to be, sort of one of us.
Yeah.
But it always bothered me in the story, because the story premise is that the Nightbreed are something that have to hide away, because they will literally be murdered, as is seen at the end of the film, by people who don't understand them. And yet there's people who are clearly not Nightbreed who desperately want to become them. It's sending a message as if you can turn into something special and different if you just try hard enough. And in my mind, you either are or you are not. You can pretend for a while, but you're not.
But maybe this is the roots, the seedlings of this stupid culture we live in today, where people are, I mean, nobody's genuine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got a fake facade, and they'll jump on the next bandwagon that comes along, and nobody actually... I can always respect somebody who actually has conviction in what they believe, even if it's against myself, because at least that's what they believe.
Yeah.
What I can't stand are these people that will say the words because of the words to say at the moment. And the same people that will gladly hang you or burn you at the stake will flip a switch and follow the next mob.
Yeah.
And we're maybe starting to see a bit of that, you know, culture. Yeah. And maybe subconsciously, Barker's bringing that up.
It'd be interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of hangers on.
You know, like, I'm sure if you've ever been to a gay bar, that, you know, I mean, they'll call people that just come in tourists.
Right.
And it was a big thing that, because usually gay bars would open later than other bars. So people would then flock to the gay bar after closing time.
I didn't know that.
And then there's that whole
I just always went to the gay bars because the bathrooms were cleaner and people were nicer.
Well, like,
really? That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I was one of the mates. It's like, okay, well, we're going there tonight. Fucking doesn't, you know, what's the problem? But then again, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about fucking the bland, empty people that have no identity themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became a cool thing for a while. What else going on my screen? Became a cool thing in the sort of late 90s to go to the gay bar. So actually, gay people were getting pissed off because straight people were just like fucking slamming into the, you know, filling up the bar. And then that whole, like, why do people go out to nightclubs stuff? Because they want to get laid.
Yeah.
And
it's
then,
funny, there's the exact same issue with the Gothic bar that my friends used to go to. It was a coffee bar. But yeah, I mean, it would just be like tourists would come in and they're like, you're not one of us. You're a weekend warrior, goth. You know, like you have these like identity politics within that establishment, that place. Like only we can, you know, this is our safe refuge. And then other people come in because they think it's cool or they want to identify in some way, or they, you know, just want to go to
have the whole dichotomy then. We want to be accepted, and then people accept it. We don't want to be accepted anymore.
Right.
Which is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, because as we know, Clive Barker's an amazing storyteller. But he just seems to miss the ball when it comes to movies.
Well, yeah, I wonder though how much of that is...
There's some pattern evolving here, you know what I mean?
But I wonder how much of that is him versus how much is the studio interference, because notoriously anytime he gets something made, they just bastardize the hell out of it. Like, and I know there's a lot of nuance in a story that would be potentially hard to translate into a movie, because I mean you're always going to miss something whenever you translate any sort of novel or whatever into a film. But yeah, I would love to have seen what was in his mind for this versus what we actually got, because like even with the Cabal cut, he says it's the most complete version. That doesn't mean it's the complete version. Like, what the fuck else was there?
But this is not it's not like you're trying to translate Lord of the Rings. This is a novella. It's a small book. So it's not as if there's like tons and tons of material and lore and world building to try and sift through. So this should be.
See, that's funny, because I actually
easy translation.
I feel like I would disagree with that. Like, yes, it is definitely one of his shorter works, but he does such a good job of just building the entire world, like with just a teeny tiny book. And I think that might be part of the problem with this, is like, it's just, how would you translate all that stuff? How would you translate the feeling of the book and Boone's plight? Like,
so the idea is bigger than the story, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
The idea that he's bringing across with what he's not saying and leaving out, but it's bigger that can actually be quantified.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we might just have to accept that some artists cannot produce interdisciplinary media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's an amazing author. He's a sketch artist. He's not really, in my opinion, a traditional artist.
Yeah.
People are going to hate me for that, I'm sure.
I mean, I know where you live, and there might be an upside down cross burning in your lawn later.
so like, maybe he just sucks as a visual storyteller. Maybe it's as simple as that. Like, we can blame studio interference, but that happens with almost every single property.
Yeah, of course.
We can blame the people who are hired on, like the costume designers, the makeup, special effects artists and stuff, but it's all under his direction.
Yeah, when he's there, and that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he did do Rawhead Rex.
He did not do Rawhead Rex. Damn it.
That's on the list. Don't worry, we'll get to that.
Are we going to get to that?
Yes.
We hate ourselves that much.
You know, I think we do, Adam. I think we do.
Yes, this is our Clive Barker gathering book club, movie club section. We're going to do it.
I'll be excited to get to Books of Blood that was on Hulu a little while back. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, if I can get it, that's a
it's
shit platform. Yeah, because it's only on your side of the pond.
Right.
So unless there's subcontract, that's why I didn't get to see bloody Hellraiser until like a month later.
We need to do like what are those the private IP things?
Oh, the VPN things.
Yeah, we need to pitch in for you to get that.
I know I had one of those and I fucked up my router. What I had on the computer, that's why I won't get one again. The one I had absolutely screwed everything up, and I won't bother with them now. I don't trust. Once you lose that trust,
yeah.
Now I might stick it on my laptop maybe and watch it through it, but I'm not sticking it on the main computer.
It's not great if you ever do watch it, but it's pretty good. It's fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I want to go through this catalog, and then, like I said, we're starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
and it could just be that he can't translate the screen.
Yeah, I mean, the descriptions are so visceral and vivid on the page. You know, you were mentioning earlier how you read it and you see it in your own mind, in your own way. I think that might be the problem with his work, is that, and maybe that's the problem with other people like Stephen King, where, you know, you do get some great films, but
Stephen King and Anne Rice are pretty notorious with that as well.
Yeah. Maybe it's just it can't live up to expectations.
Like, could anyone, like, when the cast for Interview with the Vampire, could you picture Antonio Banderas and Christian Slater in the shower scene, which happened later in Queen of the Damned?
Hold on,
let me picture those two actors. Like,
like, yeah, let me get to that place.
Do you know what I mean? I would just be like, oh, this is wrong. There's so many wrong levels of wrong.
I tell you what, I could picture the series characters in that situation.
Yeah, definitely. Like the series characters. And it's so funny too, because
I enjoyed it so much more than I thought.
They feel, I mean, with the exception of What's Her Bucket, who's not returning.
Well, that's great.
Like, I thought they were great. And not at all who I saw in the books, but portrayed it so much better than the people in the films.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, we're not talking about interview. Sorry.
We'll
move on.
Tangent complete.
Back
to the story.
Ding.
I'd love to have a wee thing where we take off the tangents. You know, we'll have a tangent meter.
Like a hotel bell.
Yeah, then I guess a certain episode goes whoop, 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 whoop. The screen starts shaking.
Oh my god, that'd be so fantastic. It'd be like when you're playing a racing game and you go off the track or you go in the wrong
direction. Yeah. It starts all going red and stuff, and but here's the thing: this film was panned when it came out, and yet simultaneously it won loads of awards. They're not like massive, but they're still critically acclaimed. You know, in one sense, everyone said this is a shit movie. It's fucking blah blah blah. Reasons have been said, but then also it's got like loads of awards too. Where's the disconnect with?
Well, I don't know. I can kind of see that, because really, how do you market this film? I mean, especially with the era, like this is fucking, you know, end of the the
end of the
beginning
80s, the
slasher
beginning
and
of
stuff. So
the-
it's like, okay, you market it as a slasher. Well, it's not a slasher. You market it as a monster movie. Well, it's not technically a monster movie. Yes, there's monsters in it, but it's not. Like, I feel like, and I'm not comparing the two because, quite frankly, Office Space is a gem. It's one of the just perfect films. But it's like, how do you market that? Because like Office Space, it's not a comedy. You show them the jokes in the trailer, and then you watch it. It's just deadpan as fuck. You're gonna hate it. But how do you get across the feeling of it in 30 seconds? So I think that's
I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday, okay?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like Office Space, like it is infinitely quotable. I mean, that's one of the movies that I pretty much quote on the daily at work because you have to. But yeah, like you watch any of the trailers for it, like, and it's no wonder why it tanked in the theatrical market.
Yeah.
God, he has the most, because I've worked with people that that character with the glasses. That
Mm-hmm.
you turn the radio down a bit. This is acceptable volume. I'm allowed to fucking have it at this volume because I've also BHR in there. Like, I have worked with
He's so great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn down this office.
See my stapler.
I regularly watch that film. I think it's amazing.
People like that got so many jobs over the years because just can't trust himself not to fucking lose it.
You're living the dream, man. The Office Space dream. Torture.
Yeah, Laurie's the only solid character throughout this story.
The only
until
break
we see her on screen. I mean, on stage.
I was gonna say the only break is that song.
Oh,
like
God.
for starters, these microphones, the condenser's right here. You are supposed to speak into it, not around it, because then it's just gonna sound like trash. So holding it like this, like she's trying to get the bottom of the ice cream cone that's melting. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? There wasn't somebody there that could tell you, hey, you think you're looking sexy, but you kind of look like an idiot.
It's
that's so funny.
Have you ever seen the stock corporate ads with the model holding the solder iron?
Mm-hmm.
In the white coat. Yeah, because they're doing a corporate shop for engineering and just holding the solder iron by the hot bit.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. It's not.
I fucking love those ads, man. Or the little pictures and shit of people not understanding the equipment that they're using.
And nobody taking the picture or the setup could look up an instruction manual or anything. Just make sure, here's somebody actually using it. Right, we want that look.
Yeah, I mean, aside from her props and her dress and her performance, the song itself sucked. Like it was.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Johnny. Like anytime anyone says Johnny, if you're not running out of a cemetery, you should be punched in the face. Like there's just no reason to use that name past 1950s. Fucking, I want a bad man, and it's all like poppy and fucking like 1950s.
I honestly just flipped that scene out of my head.
Yeah, it's such an interesting dynamic. Like they're at presumably a country bar. The whole band looks like they're a country band, and she's in a little fucking 1950s cover band type thing. Yeah, it was a very interesting choice to do that song.
I want a sad man. I want a bad man. I want you to shut the fuck up.
Right. It's like it didn't need to drag on that long.
In the audience, just like
that's when you know it's not going to be a good show. Synchronized white people clapping is the worst. Like unless it's
it was like the Western bar from Blues Brothers, but all the people in it were like happy instead of throwing their beer bottles.
Yeah,
we play country and Western.
Both types. Both types of music.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over that scene. I was like, right, okay. Now on the next thing. Just
it was just so terrible. Because first of all, she came to him at his like mechanic shop, dressed in one outfit, saying, "I'm gonna go. I hope I see you later." And then he's like all dripping and sweating and greasing her up, which doesn't actually rub off on her for some strange reason. And then she's wearing a complete.
He doesn't touch her though. He's like, "Oh, I'm all greasy. I'm."
They were like necking and stuff. He was like all up in there, like, hold on, I'm going to show you how I do it. Like,
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
It's that far away from truth. It's just one of her short, curly poodle haircut hairs away. And that's the other thing, her haircut. Everything about her style drives me insane. I can't handle it. It sucks. Like, she has this weird, like...
It was the perfect culmination of the transition from 1980s to the early 90s.
Yeah.
The only thing it was missing was some really bright pattern. Like, I mean, her jacket when she goes into his apartment, it's pretty bright, but it's not like a Dixie cup vomited on her like you would expect in the 90s.
It's not quite Saved by the Bell, but it's not
far away. It's not quite there, but it's like you see where it's going, and it's the fact that people want that shit to come back is just atrocious to me.
Well, you were talking about Evil Dead Rise and the Return of the Mullet. Like, some things should be left buried.
Dude, it kills me. Like the biggest thing is that gay culture has just adopted it so much, and it's like, why? You guys were always like the bastion of fashion. Like when we were in the darkness, didn't know where to go. You were the beacon in the night that we could follow. And mullets is what you bring back? No, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like I have a very hard stance. Like if I love you as a person, I will hold you down and shave your fucking head if you ever grow a mullet. I don't care who the
fuck haircut.
You are. I will shave it. Yeah, it's plain.
It's for your own good. You know,
it's just
tears. This is for your own good. I love you.
Pretty much. I almost had to do that shit with my last buddy that thought it'd be hilarious to grow a mullet. It's like, no, man, no, please don't. Luckily, he kept catching it while he was working and shaved it himself. But it's like, God, why? There is nothing okay about a fucking mullet ever.
Yeah, unless you're Boone.
No, that's why I hated that character.
He just has that generic 80s himbo look.
Uh-huh.
Like I said at the start, when I first watched this movie many years ago, I was like, oh God, what? Who is this? Stop it. I thought it was just a leather jacket and white t-shirt, but now I realized
just no face.
There's more going on, yeah.
Just okay.
Random things upset me, you know that.
No, you're a very even-tempered individual. No rage beneath your surface.
No, not at all. No. Well, that's why nobody watches this, because I'm too fluffy and nice.
That's exactly it.
Might be your problem. You might have to develop opinions and share them.
Maybe, but I'm shy. That's my problem.
I don't know. You should open every episode with that song, and then people would be like, I gotta see what train wreck follows that. Like, how do you top that motherfucker?
God, I've already erased it from my head. I'm like, I just blip out. If something's too painful to watch, I just blip it out. It's like, go out.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
You don't need to be rattling about there in my head. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a masochist. It's like I need to watch it to just. It's like I did something wrong in my life, and this is my penance, is having to sit through that.
Other people are like 12 Hail Marys, and you're like, watch Nightbreed again.
It's like, I love the movie, but there's definitely aspects of it that it's like, why do I love this movie so much?
But we've said that about every fucking Clive Barker movie.
That's true.
There's a pattern for it here.
Yeah. Okay, so there are period films, which, you know, like A Lord of Illusions was supposed to be a very noir styled film. Mm-hmm. And it felt that way, and it worked perfectly in any time and era. They have the shoulder pads of the 80s and stuff, but for some reason it makes sense and it works. Mm-hmm. Hellraiser, another one where it's just like wild 80s outfits and like plainly of an era, but
you can put that on today and watch it and enjoy it.
Exactly. This you can't, like, or I can't. I put it on, I'm just like, fucking fashion burning my eyes. Ah,
right.
It drives me insane. I don't understand why there's a difference. Wait, because they're all generally of the same era.
It's because this one's Canadian. I think that's the mistake.
That's it.
What? Hold on, man. You
maple
signed me off for
syrup
saying
loving
Canada can't
bastards.
produce horror movies.
What's that?
He argued with me when I said Canada can't produce horror movies. Like, but they can, David Cronenberg. Well, here's your David Cronenberg. What's your answer?
The
I mean,
Fly.
You know, sometimes I'm wrong. I'll just say that.
Oh dear.
Now who's burning a cross on your lawn?
Oh, please be David Cronenberg. Please be David Cronenberg. Please be David
He's just gonna be
Cronenberg.
standing there. You need to come into therapy.
Talking of which, when he actually does go into therapy and Boone goes, okay then. Creepy doctor. I'll drop
And
everything.
then he's just
then
like,
for
oh,
a
here's drugs. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. I'm fine, but I'll start taking drugs now, I guess.
This could have all been solved sort of at the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Because he's going about spaced off his tits, near gets knocked down, killed, and then ends up in the hospital. And what's wrong with you? The doctor gave me these.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody went, what are these? I don't know. He gave them, and all of a sudden I'm playing with traffic.
Well, except for the
better
one
look at
doctor.
these to see what they are.
It's like, oh, these are lithium? No, man, these aren't lithium. You're having what we call a bad trip.
Yeah.
But I mean, as he hands him a fucking prescribed, it's almost as if he pulled out a baggie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If he pulled out a baggie and said, well, take these, then you can understand. But he pulled out a prescription drug. My doctor gave me these tonight, and now I'm playing with traffic, and I'm in here.
Yeah, at no point was there like, we need to talk to this doctor because he clearly drugged you.
Yeah.
Like, there should be some follow-up.
Then the fucking doctor arrives like Darth Vader with a bunch of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is my patient?
Why are the cops deferring to a psychiatrist like this?
I mean, it's
honestly,
Canada,
I was waiting
dude.
for the Imperial March to play as fucking Dr.
Universal
Decker
healthcare.
arrives with his fucking flanking fucking guards. You have my patient. Give him to me. It's just like, what the fuck?
I think
Yeah.
that was the worst part of the entire setup for me personally, was that everyone just deferred to the doctor, who is clearly an insane person. Like,
Right.
he just walking around like that. If that was any doctor, I feel like doctors off the clock are as goofy and normal as everyone else. This guy's the same fucking dude. He's like clearly a Sith, like walking as a Sith, talking as a Sith.
Right.
That's all he needed was a fucking. He may as well pull the hood up. I am the psychiatrist.
He's like Spaceballs, man. Dark helmet.
I mean, it did. That's how he kind of felt in the book too, though. Like, everybody was just sort of like, well, clearly you're a doctor, so you know more than us. And like that, yes, it's goofy, but I feel like that did like perfectly come over from Cabal to Nightbreed.
Yeah.
I think the difference in the book, though, it took a minute. Like, it played up until he killed Laurie's brand new best friend, who had randomly appeared. But until that moment, you were kind of not too sure where he was going.
Yeah.
But from this movie, from like minute one, villain.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's also
okay.
partially casting. Like, you're not going to see Cronenberg in a movie and be like, oh, no, he's obviously going to be the good guy and the voice of reason.
I think that character, Laurie's girlfriend character, she's silently the best character of the whole film. I thought in the book, she's amazing. And then in the film, I enjoyed her, like, just her character. I thought she was great. She's just like some girl out there trying to find love. And she just like wants to be sisters with this fucking girl for no reason. And they just like drink and party. And I think she's great. She's like a party girl.
Yeah.
Love it. I was trying to find her name, but I can't find it.
Cracking on, living her life.
I can't find it anywhere. What the?
Yeah,
Well,
a lot of
maybe.
it's written down.
Anyway, she's like silently the best, my favorite personal character.
Yeah,
Because her style fits, her attitude fits, like everything about her character is just spot on. Whereas everyone else, there's something off. And I wish we had more, because in the book, she sticks around for a while. Like, it's her and Laurie, like fucking road tripping it like Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
And
Deborah Weston, she played Cheryl Ann, I believe.
Okay. So good. She's great. I would drink with her. I would do a coconut line. What is that?
The Congo line?
The Congo line for coconut drinks with her.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone wouldn't join me.
Yeah, someone's a poopy pants, I know. Well, someone kept trying to go back and grab his fucking phone to get pictures, and somebody's wife's like, no, and it's like, okay,
That's all right.
Glad
Somebody
you
wasn't
did.
invited.
yeah, don't worry. 2025, man, we're gonna fucking tear it up down there. Gonna have to get everybody together and
It's gonna
go
be
invade.
a mess.
With
They're
big
gonna
ways and
hate
just
us.
fucking like cause carnage. That'd be fun.
Hell yeah.
They're gonna hate us.
Be
And
so-
I'll wear brown face. Is that a thing down there? I'm gonna make it a thing.
I mean, it
I'm
is
gonna
if you
give them a
make it.
reason to hate us even more.
I just go lobster because that's the two shades you better got this.
Dude, me too. But I didn't get
Hard.
burned at all the whole time. It was amazing. I don't know what it was. It was the super powered spray
Yeah,
stuff.
straight up.
It worked perfect.
Another thing that didn't explain this is why Decker was obsessed with Boone.
I mean, he's an alibi. He's his cover.
Yeah, I mean,
Look, there's better examples. You know what I mean? The guy in the hospital that ripped his face off. Couldn't
Right.
pick him. You know what I mean? There's so many other candidates that would have actually acted more unhinged.
well, I think it
Boone's
was just
character, you know,
a matter of
on the surface,
convenience.
tied together.
Mm.
Like,
So
he was
convenient.
already-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cameron.
but yeah, he was already seeing Boone, and Boone was already
Hmm.
having delusions. So it was really easy to just plant that seed. Because I mean, we get it in the book, but this is the first time he's done it, and he'll have breaks in between. He'll find another patient, and then he'll start with that patient. So I think it's sort of a problem that it wasn't fleshed out more in this movie. So it does kind of feel a little unwarranted, but like it makes sense.
Yeah, in the novella, it felt like he was grooming him the whole
Mhm.
time. Like he was intentionally keeping him around and keeping him in therapy and everything. And so you knew immediately that, oh, okay, well, he's using him for the ability to go kill people. And then when he's done, or he can't use him anymore, he's just going to discard him and blame everything on him. In the film, they don't really build that out because we start with him not wanting therapy anymore because he's cured, he's happy. And so it doesn't make sense. So you need that ongoing relationship to really pay off that Decker's
How could such a mistake have been made? When you can understand if another director or somebody that wasn't, you know, cursory glanced over Cabal, but Clive Barker knows his own story. So what made him think, oh, we'll start at this point?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's what I'm saying. Like, just because you're a great author doesn't mean you can make a great film. Like, he got lucky a couple times, but I don't know.
Starting to see us more and more. That's what I mean. It's like he feels like he has to reinvent the wheel or something. Instead of just, most people just want that medium put onto this medium. They don't want the story changed because it's a story they fell in love with.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason it's a popular story because it's good. So there's nothing wrong with having the same story being told.
Well, it's also interesting because as a viewer, as someone who is consuming the material that someone else is creating, we're latching on to elements that maybe the author didn't really think were that important. You know, their focus is on part C, and we're hyper focused on part A in order to get to C. And so, you know, Cameron, you had mentioned sometimes it's really hard to adapt stuff onto screen because clearly screenwriting, you have to condense everything in order to have some sort of linear. I don't think he does that very well. And I think maybe that's why most of his films don't land so great, because he doesn't know how to properly condense content down. And maybe, the irony is some of his best work are short stories. And so, you know, it's just weird.
And there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? If you know what your strengths are, play to them.
Yeah.
And it's not everything has to be a trilogy of, you know, epic flipping brick-sized books. You know, if short stories are your thing, bloody do them because you can get just as much. Actually, when you hear his interviews and talking how he's always got 100 ideas racing in his mind, it makes more sense that he'd be better at short stories because then he gets that idea out of his head while the next one's already pushing his way. But I think if he stays too long with something, and with filmmaking, you have to spend a long time on the one project.
Yeah, I could see that.
And actually, now to think about it, because he wants to paint, he wants to write, he wants to direct, he wants to do this. He's got 5 stories in his head coming out while he's working on one. So him having to spend a year in a studio on the one project and just be 100% focused on that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe goes against his nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
can
can
definitely see
identify
that.
with those notions too. You know, I like professionally, I don't have one single client with one single campaign. You have to, you know, we have a plethora of different styles of campaigns going in different media formats. And so you're constantly focused. And I think having the disparity of projects also helps you like really hyper focus on ones for a short amount of time, and
Mhm.
then you can then branch out and do other ones, and you're
Mhm.
thinking about the other ones while you're actively working on the one. And like some people's brains, that's how it works best, and I think his is definitely like that as well.
Yeah.
Do you think Barker's problem was he didn't have a wingman? Do you think he's the type of person that needs a wingman? That
I think that could be said about most artists. Like you got to have that the polar opposite to kind of rein you in and help you put out something that's a little bit more well-rounded versus hyper focused on what you're trying to tell. So it's more generally accepted.
It's
like
because I can't think of any writing teams that do that. You know what I mean? Usually, it's
I mean,
like,
I can, but
well, authors
like
have
it's stuff
like
that's
a
not
trusted group of beta readers. You know, that's
Yeah.
usually how, you know, successful authors, they have that trusted group of 5 or 6 people that test, read, improve, and give honest feedback. And that's kind of the way that's their grounding sort of zone. If there's a good Tim Burton's actually an example. Him and Warner Brothers tend to have a good relationship, and it seems to be when those two work together, there's an understanding, and for the most part, his stuff's been consistent.
Yeah.
Who else? Tarantino's a bit of an oddball.
But you know, it's like, you know, he's one of those that just has a stamp. Like his, you know, it's his film because he has total control, and studios give him total control.
Yeah.
Because he regularly pulls in the box office for everything that he does. So
yeah, I'm just trying to think of another example where the, you know, because that's the best studio artist. You know, Burton and Warner Brothers seem to be the best sort of combination for each other with whatever that team is.
Right.
You know, because you know what you're getting, and 9 times out of 10 it lands.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head.
Well, it's like for me, the only thing I can think of is like authors, like specifically. But yeah, I mean, it does help to have that outside voice of reason to sort of rein things in a little bit. And usually, I mean, that's where you'll get like a good editor. They bring something to the table that most of the time, even like with you having written it, you having filmed it, like you don't see what they saw in it, and it's their job to make you see what they see with what the you know, the footage that you made.
Right.
I feel like if he had a maybe a bit of a heavy-handed editor that wasn't being manipulated by the studio, it could have changed how it came out, or even just having like an on-set advisor, like having a script advisor or something like that. That could have helped too. Or I guess not having a script advisor, but having a heavy-handed script advisor. Like, oh, I don't think that's the way this is supposed to go.
Yeah, and I think it would need to be trust over not just an enforcement, like I said, the studio just enforcing things, but definitely that kind of. I think that's what Barker's been missing, because we're seeing this now more and more as we go down this little series that we're doing. Yeah, that it's that reining in element is just ruining what could be otherwise fantastic piece of work, legendary piece of work. It just doesn't translate into film medium.
Yeah, I would love to see a darker version of this film made. And I don't mean lights. You know, tonally, I want like a grittier version of this made nowadays with budgets of modern films, because I think this could be a goddamn amazing film adaptation if it just had some time worked into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've actually got because we're talking about, like, this is a mirror on culture, culture at the time and possibly culture today. Well, there's Leibsburg. There's a personification of traditionalism versus progression.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll have this conversation of this is the way we've always done things. This is what's kept us safe. And then Boone comes out of nowhere and goes, we'll have to do something different because blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
No, we can't do it. And we'll get that actual... And that is the struggle of today. Because if somebody's super progressive and they just want to change everything and pull the rug out, well, you ruin the foundations of what works.
Right.
On the other hand, if you stay stuck in one place, that's how society or people degenerate and fall apart because there's nothing new getting breathed in or no forward movement, and it's always going to be an internal struggle. It's never going to change.
Yeah.
Well, what I loved about it is that we saw that reflected in the society, but we also saw that reflected in the Nightbreed themselves.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Landsberg, he's the Doug Bradley's character.
Yeah.
He personifies that. He's the one that the traditionalist. He's doesn't want to change. It was funny that they took his voice away for the director's cut because they couldn't afford to bring him in for audio work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they gave him his voice back for the.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the
Yeah, shit.
cut,
I need to watch the original fucking theatrical release.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I have, anyways.
Oh god, it's bad. It's fucking head inducing. That's why the Cabal cut is healed so badly, even though it's got like VHS stuff, because the theatrical release of this is awful. It's just so disjointed. And yeah, we can pick apart the theatrical version, but it's miles better. And then the fact that they even change an actor's voice for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, budget constraints, but really, they're already 11 million deep in this.
It's weird that Doug Bradley wouldn't just do it, like going for the dubbing.
It seems to me, because it happened with Hellraiser 2, somewhere along the line, and that's why this is kind of the final outing for that group. He got this little group around him of yappers, his little sycophantic group. And there was him and the special effects guy. Someone tried to shit stir between those two. And like I said, they've grown up together, they've worked together. Not just the Hellraiser and Hellbound, but this movie and another one. This is, they've worked together for so long. And then you get that little group around you and they start stirring the pot. Oh, he said this. Did he really mean that? I think he's doing this to you, but we've all been there. We know it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what started happening to Doug Bradley. What, they want you to come for free? You're better than that. What, they're only offering you this? I doubt it. They're scolding you.
There's only a handful of films that he's involved with that are even worth shit anyway. It seems like if you were a part of something that has legs and is being like reimagined, sort of re-edited because it's a huge cult hit, that you would want to be involved again, that you would want to have your voice up, because that would
payback would be legacy. You're it's weird. Not the actual physical pay, but you're back in the zone again. It's go back out, reinvigorate you, but you only need those handful of people whispering in your ear.
Yeah.
Look at pop stars. Pop stars are the worst for it.
Yeah.
Once they get to a certain level, they get this little gaggle. In fact, what was it? Michael Jackson's last documentary.
The Neverland or something.
But they're showing him getting ready. It was like his last tour, his ground, and his dancers.
Oh, yeah.
We love you, Michael. You're brilliant. And he did fuck all, but they're, that's all he was hearing in his fucking head from these. And they're all around him, so nobody can get through that barrier.
Yeah, Elvis is another perfect example.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And in the end, they'll consume, what I mean? They'll consume that person until there's nothing left, and then they move on to the next one.
That's why I don't have friends.
Yeah,
so I don't have that bubble. It's definitely not other reasons.
Yeah, no, it's
interest.
Definitely self-interest.
Just looking at keeping it real.
Yeah.
Shit. It takes a lot from me. I can make friends, no problem. It's keeping them's my big thing because I just get pissed off so easily. That's why I don't join stuff anymore, because if I say I go in, I'm like, fuck off. I'll go in and see
you. Tell me that, and I still keep coming back. So
I'll pitch you off enough one day. Don't worry about it.
We'll see about that. Challenge
accepted. Yeah, the other thing, the sudden violence in this movie.
Yeah.
Like everyone just going batshit crazy.
It was like Easy Rider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah,
surrounding
definitely.
this village knew where Midian was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone that's surrounding
Yeah,
it,
it's
they all
like
knew it was there.
the
They knew-
outside or the outskirts. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's the worst part about it. All of it is that there's like this huge secret. How do you get to Midian? And literally everyone knows. In the
Yeah.
novel, everyone knows about it.
Mhm.
So why now all of a sudden, just because one psychiatrist has a hard on, everyone's just like murder? Ah! It
They were all
ripped
just
from his
dying for an
character.
excuse.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, 20 years ago, I'd have thought this was over the top. It couldn't
Really?
possibly happen. Today, fucking drop of a hat.
Oh, man,
Right.
I grew up, with like Easy Rider, where those fucking hillbillies, man, they will kill you for no reason. In any, of course, if you're an alternate lifestyle individual, any version of the queer spectrum, you will get beat up and murdered for no fucking reason regionally.
Mhm.
If you like different, if you look different, if you're wearing a leather jacket in certain areas, if you talk about something in certain, like the Bible Belt, you can get your ass kicked. I mean,
Mhm.
I got the
maybe
shit
it's an
kicked out of
American
me
thing,
until
but
I was
like,
13.
what's that?
I got the shit kicked out of me until I was 13.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
first form of school, it was called gay because it wasn't big, fucking hard, tough guy.
Yeah.
And then I learned to fight, and then I didn't stop fighting for another 20 years. Because I just jumped in first. The first person said something, I was just like fucking doof. That's still part of me, that's why I friggin' I've struggled with conflict and people, because I'm like, nah, I'm out now because it's too easy. But yeah, that was it. If I liked fucking Metallica and Guns N' Roses of all people, it's called The Devil Worshipper.
Mhm.
Like in high school.
Uh,
Like fucking it's on the radio now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You can get more mainstream than those two bands.
yeah, they at the time they were the biggest bands in the whole world. Like it was them in that era.
Mhm.
So to think that was somehow like I could see like Slayer because they played with devil iconography.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
And I didn't even get into Cradle of Filth until I was like 18 or 19. So I already left school.
Yeah.
But that, but then again, where I come from, my little part of the UK was fucking a wee bit special anyway. Still is. Windows are strawberry flavoured in a lot of houses. Just put it like that. But yeah, it's so easy. Once you become the other, that's what they use as an excuse to pick on. And then the people,
Mhm.
I remember meeting some people from school like years later and barely recognize them. They're fucking alright broken. In fact, quite a lot of people I went to school with are gone. Like,
Oh, dude, well, I always make the joke that
I just laugh because I'm like, oh, you're the big swinging dick. Well, guess what? I'm still fucking here, cunt.
right. So
you're not. So your life didn't work out too well.
Yeah, like for me, my joke always is like we don't have high school reunions because the high school reunion is just everybody's funeral. Like at least once or twice a year, we're going to somebody's fucking funeral, and it's like wow. And I was the fuck up. But yet,
Yeah, exactly.
alive, motherfuckers.
Fucking even in the army, a lot of people give me shit. There's a fucking, the gobshites are always giving it that. Little cry bullies, and then run the sergeant major if you went near them. A lot of them are gone. I'm like, well, fuck you, I win. That's the way I look at it. I'm still here, you're not. Fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Survival of the wittiest.
Just crack on. But yeah, that whole era, because the 90s was the transformation.
Yeah.
Like 80s was really reserved. Don't want to say conservative because those words fucking trigger people and start shit.
Right.
But people were reserved. They were always in their bubble, afraid to step outside it. And then any subculture was hyper. Like look at the gay culture with the leather shit. You know what I mean? It just had to be fucking out there. There was no middle ground. You couldn't be an ordinary person and go to a gay bar. You had to be fucking oiled up and fucking like full blazing and then 90s was kind of right. We need to find a middle ground here because fucking we're butting against each other's heads and all that kind of stuff, and it's not leading to good places. And that's where this kind of acceptance, grudgingly in some parts, but people kind of found a happy medium.
Yeah, I think by and large, yeah.
Yeah, well, for the most, you know, there'll always be that 10% of gobshites that are never happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll always be stirring the pot because that's their whole focus of being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it only takes the 10% to cause misery because most people don't want conflict.
Yeah.
I mean, most we just want to go and get on along with our lives and get on with our shit.
I know, such a
Do
novel.
whatever you want. Fucking just leave me alone. Unfortunately, that 10% can't leave people alone.
Yeah, now that you have social media to amplify it,
It's freaking worse. But this movie is kind of, it's touching on all these bases.
For sure.
And the fact that this, you know, this village that's always known Midians are never a problem. And a thing I always wonder is how they fed themselves, because the whole thing with
meat.
Boone initially, it's meat.
I think that's why he's so hard up, because there's not much meat that comes through there. And it's like,
you
dead,
get
so it's not like they're going to starve.
Palanquin was the one that bit Boone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not as if people were vanishing from the town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or children were getting stolen or anything. These people were somehow surviving, but barely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And hadn't, I don't know. I always thought it would look better. It was like like any fantasy book where they show an elven village. It's built into the forest, but there's farmland. You know, there's farmers all built in and self-sustaining.
Right.
I always thought Midian would be more like that, but in the movie, it looks so degenerate. Yeah, like a happy commune, which I thought, no, it should be better. Not. You should have stepped over the threshold and been amazed at this self-contained world of, you know, bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of going past the graveyards was the facade, you know, to keep outsiders away. But the minute you step beyond that, you should have actually been, which was more brought across in the book.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get more of a completely cultural vibe from the book than you do in the film. And the film, again, you're in a graveyard, and so everyone's living underground, and everything's really sort of tunnel rat like.
But I think of like the dwarves and, you know, traditional dwarves and fantasy novels. They live underground, but they live in beautiful palaces, and they don't suffer for it. In fact, they thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of my favorite fantasy novelists is Raymond D. Feist, and his description of a place called Elvendar. That's what I like in Midian too, but a darker version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, we didn't see this. We just see, like I said, a hippie commune. But in fact, it was almost Lord of Illusions. You know, it's almost like the cultists.
Yeah, right.
Very that sort of dirty, dusty. That's why I can never be in a cult, because I like clean, tidy space.
Can I get some Windex or Clorox wipes or something?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Right.
Too much dust. You know, get a Hoover in here.
Would it kill anyone to put down a rug? Like nothing?
God, right. Or at least someone shower.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting statement as well, because as much as this film is a celebration of coming out as your own identity, there is no like better option. You know, whether you identify as a Nightbreed or you identify as a normal person, you're still in squalor. You're still filthy. You're still vile, because we are ultimately still, you know, these creatures living on the exact same planet next to each other. I mean, it's almost as if it's saying there is no better side. There's just the side you should identify with and belong with. And because there's no better side, because if you did cross over to Midian and it was this paradise, well, then the normies would want to move in and live there. But because it's not that, you really have to hyper-focus on why you're there. And it's because you don't have any other choice. They don't want to come and murder this place because they want to take it over for themselves, because they, you know, the Nightbreed don't deserve it. They just want to exterminate the other. And I kind of like that notion where there isn't, it's not about territory. It's not about land. It's literally just about, no, we don't like you, not because of what you have, but because it's you.
You're
Like,
not me.
whatever you represent, you need to be gone. And that reflects well with our existence as human beings, you know, that tribal sort of lizard brain in all of us.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it like that. I don't know.
That's what makes this movie, you know, that's why you forgive a lot of things, because the underlying message of the movie is that, and the important thing is to understand yourself. A lot of people don't, and if you don't know who you are, what chance is anyone else? And you can jump on all the bandwagons you want, but if you don't belong there, fucking, you know what I mean, don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you are, you don't know which bandwagon to jump on. You'll just constantly be boing, boing, boing. And then 9 times out of 10, that's your 10%. That's your troublemaker. That's the one that's always angry and frustrated because they're not happy in themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, the ambiguity of, right, these are, and this is what the studio, I think, had a problem. It's not a slasher movie. It's not a monster movie because the monsters aren't necessarily monsters.
Yeah.
Even Palaquin, that was the most aggressive in the movie. But he still wasn't, you know, he could have ripped Boone's throat out anytime he wanted. Yeah. But he's actually fighting himself as much as he's being held back.
Well, and then even with Laurie, like, he's just fucking with her most of the time. He's not actually going to get her.
No, he's just playing. Just messing. Yeah.
Hey, was I the only one when the Berserkers were released sang that song from the Clerks? My love for you is like a Chuck Berserker. Would you like some making fuck Berserker?
Yes, you were definitely the only one, but now that's all I'm gonna hear when I watch that scene.
As soon as it went running out, I started singing, and Sean was like, I thought that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen.
That's why I almost didn't marry you.
I knew this day would come. I just didn't think it would be so soon. No, funny. And then like when Boone had the sword through his chest and he like hugged the dude and there's a card on the desk. I would like the whole time I wanted him to do the line, looks like Joker is wild, when he pulled him off, because the card is still on the sword on Boone's chest. I just wanted to do like a card.
The actor doesn't really have personality.
I know.
So never going to happen. His interviews are actually more painful.
Really?
He's just a roided up dude.
Really?
No, I mean, he's just your typical 90s roided up.
Oh, that's funny.
And he's thought, I tried to get into emotion for this character. So I'm going to go lift some weights now.
I think you have to start with a personality to find a personality.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, can't remember his name. Somebody I don't care about. I don't think he appeared much.
Yeah, no, he's got a pretty limited.
Craig Schiffer.
Yeah, doesn't inspire anything.
Ugh.
Did you get annoyed by how sort of wimpish and subservient the Nightbreed were compared to the book?
You know, like at the end? I mean, Boone has to Cabal has to kind of like amp them up even in the book at the end, but at least they do amp up at the end.
Yeah, it seemed like nobody wanted to fight.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you would think if your whole culture, and maybe it's like the elephant and the rope around its ankle holds it in place, that situation, like at circuses, you know, you start by having to fight for your own existence until you have that underground place. And now you've lived in seclusion for so long, you forgot how to fight. Maybe that's what the situation was, you know, being presented in the book, or I'm sorry, in the film. But it did bother me, that they didn't stand up for themselves as much. Like, I feel like if you're an outsider, and maybe that's why it's so good, actually, to be an outsider in public, because then you're forced to hone your senses to that fine knife edge, and you can then go toes and stand up for yourself if you have to, instead of rolling over and being beaten down and murdered by a bunch of fucking hicks.
Yeah, because in the book, at least, there were the ones that fought, and the sort of women and children go and hide sort of thing, you know, but there was ones that fought ferociously. We just didn't get it at all.
No.
The action sequence is actually the most disappointing in this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's
only
very.
something.
It's like a cartoon almost. Like especially the leading up, like the rounding up of the posse to go out there. It's like there was a lot of shit that was very unnecessary in that. Like the guy spitting shit out, standing in his truck. It's like, okay, that's a choice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a strange film, man.
Yeah, just
The worst part is like I like the story, and so I will forever defend the film, even though I don't enjoy it at all. Like if it wasn't for this, I would not have ever watched it again. Like I've seen every version of it, and I don't care for it. I don't enjoy it. I just don't have a good time. I'd rather watch Hellraiser for the billionth time.
Yeah, sad. Once again, just what can we say? It's flipping. Barker should stop doing movies or get some. He should have got someone. He should have got someone in that he trusted.
Dude, if fucking John Carpenter did this, it would be a much different film, and it would be better for it.
Yeah,
like it would 100%. Be fucking crazy and weird, and the practical effects and everything would still be there, but it would look and feel different, and it would probably be so much better.
Well, and just, I mean, can you imagine a Carpenter score versus the Elfman score?
Yes.
And the thing is, like, I hate it because I fucking love the score. Like, listening to the score by itself, not with the movie, it's great. I mean, it's Danny Elfman, but it's so much of a polar opposite of what the film is supposed to be that it's just disheartening. But yeah, like a simple Carpenter score behind this would have been perfect.
God, I wonder if anyone's ever done that. Just taken this film and added a different score to it. I would love to see that.
I don't think people are that. This is one of these ones that's kind of disappear into the ether. It's only people like us that bring it back up again. I think this is one that just kind of gets buried as a. I don't think it even has a full cult following.
I mean, when the director's cut came out, it got a lot of attention, I thought.
Yeah, but is that more Barker fans as opposed to Nightbreed fans?
I mean,
that's a good point. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, how else are you going to see it? Like if you never really saw it beforehand, like, because I don't honestly know if I've ever seen the theatrical cut. Like, it wasn't until director's cut that I started watching it fairly regularly. So, yeah, it probably is just the Barker fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baphomet was definitely downgraded.
Really downgraded. And even the scene where they're coming out of Midian, like there's two people holding cloths. Like unless you've read Cabal, you don't know what they're fucking carrying. You're just like, why are they taking those rugs?
Yeah.
It's moving time.
Yeah,
right.
That's of all things that their shitty grovel have got. That's what these are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's fundamentally what bothers me about this. I mean, I like the idea of the bad guys, even if it's perceived bad guys, having some sense of autonomy and control. And this very much was Boone came in as this prophecy in order to just deconstruct Midian and then take it into the next iteration, the next phase. And you give a character like, and I can't stand saying Baphomet, so I'm going to say Baphomet. You take a character like Baphomet and you sort of instill it into your own fictional universe. I still want it to be this sort of demonic entity that is powerful and otherworldly. I don't want to see it destroyed into just little seeds of itself, or I don't know. There's something about this identity of a persistent level of dark power that I like, that this deconstructs and subverts expectations. And it kind of bothers me. I don't know why. In my head, I don't know why it bothers me, but it does really kind of bother me.
I think it was just because in the book, it was an ethereal, bright, it was more of an experience than an actual. This sounds like it was just another Nightbreed.
It's like a Pink Floyd laser show.
Yeah.
It's more of an experience.
Yeah. Encounter Baphomet was more, because it's Baphomet now, because it's not Baphomet.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Well, and it's
not
funny.
even-
It
the
actually
same.
bothers me when it's pronounced Baphomet, just because I grew up, like, my first experiences with it is fucking metal and shit like that in movies, and it's always been Baphomet, not Baphomet. So it's always so jarring when there's that hard T.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, that's
wasn't
not
You
metal.
Americans don't like tea,
Eliphas
do you?
Levi, wasn't he like French or something? Or
Yeah.
it would be that pronunciation anyway,
Mhm.
Baphomet. But fuck other people. I'm American. I speak American. I drape myself in American flags. I only drink Bud Light until they fucking put someone's face on it.
Then you Bible like and run over it in the
I
truck.
ban it and shoot shotguns at it.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
Oh, what a
Americans,
thing! What a
man.
hell to die on.
Yeah.
Fucking
Right.
shittiest beer in the planet.
Fucking people are dumb, man.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to tell a joke again. You know what?
Huh?
I'm gonna have to tell a joke again.
Good.
Why is drinking American beer like making love in a canoe?
Why?
Because they're both fucking close to water. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Hey.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I mean,
Very, very true.
it's not wrong.
No.
It's funny because it's true.
Right.
And here's one character I could not wrap my head around. Fucking Father Ashbury.
Book was so much better.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
definitely.
much better.
What a like in this movie, this was like shoehorned in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just
Well-
throw this random character in the last minute. Just
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like they
fucking
almost
crazy.
forgot about him.
Yeah.
And it's like he was just randomly there at the jail. No explanation as to why he's locked up. Just he is. Whereas in the book, it's like there's a reason why he's there, and he doesn't want to be there. With this, it's just like he's just sort of like at the prison or the jail, so obviously he has to go with everybody. It didn't make much sense.
yeah, and then
And he was a freak. Like I love that about him. You know?
Yeah,
like
it
this-
made sense as to why he would inevitably end up turning to the
Yeah.
Nightbreed.
but then becoming the anti-Nightbreed or something the way that it reminds me. What was it? The fucking one of the one of the Hulk movies. That guy that got the stuff dripped on his head and started going. Rah, rah, rah. I know it was a character in the comics.
I am not sure I saw that one.
Was it the Incredible Hulk, the second one? Guy in the lab.
No, man.
These are questions that I can't answer.
What type of fucking nerds are you? Come on.
Well,
That's my card.
It's like Marvel's
Yeah,
Bumhole. Come on,
those
you should be
movies
well with
were
us. Fucking
fucking
me.
awful.
Like the Ed Norton one? Is that the one you're
I
talking
think it
about?
was, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like the bad guy version of
I
the
barely-
Yeah, but then they were teasing some other character who I can't
Abomination or
remember,
some shit.
but like a Brainiac type character.
I don't know.
But that's just what I got in my head when he tipped the fucking scales and got it, and then got the big fucking forehead. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Did they run out of budget?
Yeah.
Here, put this on. Dunk.
right.
So strange.
This is leftover. That would have been so much better if they're going to change anything from the book to the movie. They should have just had Decker survive
Mhm.
and get transformed. That would have been so much better. But just to shoehorn a character in because oh shit, we forgot about him. Let's put him in here
Right.
and just throw it there was just dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like Decker. I wouldn't want him to stick around. I'm like, in my opinion, he needs to die. You know, just it had to end for him. If he would have stuck around and like he was like converted and because you know he's different and evil and stuff, I would have felt a little cheated because every other Nightbreed is actually a sensitive, caring individual for the most part. You know, there's exceptions.
But then
And
again,
he
you
was, like,
can't all be
cool
nice and
and-
fluffy. There's dickheads too. So I was
Yeah.
thinking more like X-Men, the way you have the X-Men and the Brotherhood. They're all mutants, but they have two different philosophies. So I was
Right.
thinking
Yeah.
the normal human way would be, oh, here's the new denomination of let's fight back, let's
Yeah.
take control because we're
Yeah.
better.
Do
And then you have more
Nightbreed
nuance
do.
instead of these fluffy, spiky things that cried a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like going to a golf club, isn't it? Oh, I'm so dark and oh, my feelings, my feelings. And the next one, oh, give me attention, give me attention. Oh, we're all different. We all look exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean that is interesting. They really run the gamut of types of Nightbreed and types of characters, and even they straight up say in the film, it takes different ways to kill different Nightbreed.
Yeah.
But that underlying thing is they live a long time or they're immortal or something like that. So
not immortal. It wasn't. Yeah, they're not immortal. Just the
long lifespan.
Yeah, because they made that point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that idea that they are just like the normal people, completely different and varied and stuff, but they just are forced to be together because otherwise they're going to be murdered and sort of knocked
like
out.
Every alternative culture.
Yeah.
A lot of people who generally don't get along kind of forced into space, and then that's why you have so much infighting. That's why you look at metal music, look at the goth culture, look at alternative religions. There's always infighting, even though it's a tiny group. And you'd think people would be more in lockstep and agreeable, and that's what you find
fucking worse, almost.
Absolutely amped up to the nth degree.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like I'm glad that's the case. I wouldn't want a monolith. If you're part of an alternative culture, in most cases, it's because you're an individual and you're not lockstepping with the herd, and so you celebrate the fact that you're not a monolith, and that's going to breed discord and infighting and shit disturbing and stuff. But I would rather have that than everyone sort of locking arms in some strange utopian counterculture.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, like
and social media. That's the thing about social media. Social media has tried to propagate that.
Yeah.
Which is the antithesis of what being an outsider is. I would have liked to see more conflict in this. This is more of a philosophical movie than an action movie or a horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's using scary, maybe back in the day, if you're a normie seeing this, you might have been, but generally this is not a frightening movie.
Yeah.
No.
But maybe more of the nuance and infighting would have given a bit more flavour to this. And maybe a bit less time spent on trying to build a spectacle, because that's what it seems to be. This movie was trying to build a spectacle and then forgot about the storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with just like the opening part of the dream. It's like, I'm not scared by those monsters. Like, they look like they're trying to get you to come to their cheap show.
Yeah, it was enticing. It was like a circus act.
Yeah. It's like, there's nothing scary about that. That's just like, whatever. It's a Saturday night. I got nothing better to do. I'll spend $15 to watch these people move weird on stage.
Yep.
It reminds me of that circus performer in What We Do in the Shadows that was sucking himself off. He's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the longest I ever lasted.
Yeah.
That's such a good show.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was great, except that was the episode that I introduced my daughter to unknowingly.
Oh so my God, that's
It
fantastic.
Oh my God, she has shot up so much. She has, I haven't seen her in a couple of years. She has
she's a grown young woman. I mean,
that's it.
There's no hiding it.
It was just Sean was showing some pictures and I'm like, bloody hell. Nice. It took me a minute to go, who's that? Oh shit, that's
that's the little kid. Oh my God.
That's the wee kid that put a chicken in my head. Here, have a chicken.
That's my girl.
So there we go. That was Nightbreed. That was definitely an experience.
Yep.
I think we can say that about all Barker movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's like even the bad ones minus Rawhead Rex, there's still something to appreciate about them.
I can't wait to do that.
I've only seen it the one time.
People are very
I never finished it. I couldn't finish it.
Oh, I forced myself to, because like I used to get this pack of cards, like goofy little Valentine's cards, but they were all horror related. So
cool.
What I used to do when I got those is I'd give one to my wife each day, and then that's what we watched when I got home from work. So that's the only reason I ever bought that fucking movie. And
bought it.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, obviously this
Clive
is a
Barker.
card. I gotta stick with tradition, and that was a fucking bust. It's like, wow, I'm not pro piracy even the slightest, but man, I was like, fuck, I should just download this goddamn movie.
Yeah. But to be fair, I'm glad that these films exist. You know, even though the stories for almost every single Clive Barker film is infinitely better than the film, I'm glad that they're out there. You know, I mean, they have themes that I think are timeless and important and worth learning and understanding. And
yeah, 100%.
you know, he has a very original vision and voice, and I'm very glad that he has a platform for it.
No, absolutely, because that's what we need. Rather than look at the sludge getting poured out of Hollywood now.
Yeah. Right.
You've watched one, you watch the same movie 10 times. It's just the same crap. Generic, bland, you have no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah.
At least this invokes an emotion and you're thinking about it. We didn't just go, oh, what did I watch? Oh, I forget. No, which is so much of the mainstream stuff. It's just like, oh, what did I watch there? Oh God, right. Oh, what's that movie or this movie?
Right.
Can't tell the difference. And I think that's that's the eternal struggle and problem with art. If you have a vision and you're trying to put it forward, not everyone's going to get it. Sometimes hardly anybody's going to get it. You know, that's just the way it goes. But
yeah, I think the struggle with that is learning to accept that as an artist, accept that other people just simply are not going to be turned on to what you are putting out there, and then being okay with that.
I think Barker is very okay with that. That's one thing you can say about him. He's okay with, you know, he'll just keep pumping it out. And he's like, well, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you stay, cool. That's one thing you can say. You know, especially mainstream Hollywood, they get so defensive about their projects, and it's just generic sludge anyway. It's the same stuff. But they act as if it's like the birth of a new age, every project they bring out, and it's nothing different. And then it gets so defensive the minute they get a negative comment.
Yeah. I mean, Black Adam and Shazam 2 are perfect examples of films that were like supposed to be like these great big grand spectacles, and they sort of, because they sucked and people thought they sucked, and then the actors who invested so much of their own time and energy and excitement into it realized that, oh shit, people don't like this. Well, then it's their fault, or it's someone else's fault, or it's another actor's fault. It's definitely not my fault.
Yeah.
I saw that with Game of Thrones after season 8. And nobody was slagging the actors off. Nobody was saying the actors did a bad job. The actors just did as they'd always done. And then the actors started getting really pissy about it. It's like, nobody's slagging you off. They're slagging off the directors who wrote you shitty lines and didn't do your characters justice.
It was D.B. Weiss.
Yeah. And then it's like, how's our Star Wars trilogy going, by the way?
Right. That's the best
I don't
part.
want to talk about it.
They fucked off
Talk about it.
a huge franchise where they were just raking in the money to do something that never even existed.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. let's do our own thing. Yeah, whatever. Silly bastards.
I'm emotionally devastated still, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That was fun.
Good times. Go watch it. If you've never seen it, I would recommend you watch it.
Yeah, 100%. It is a good film. I'm not going to say a great film. I fucking love this movie, but it is a good film. It is fun to just sit there, and if nothing else, it's a time capsule of the transitional period between the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's a period that should never be repeated, so everybody should watch it.
Yeah.
And if you really want to enjoy the story, read the damn book. Like, everyone should read more in general, in my opinion, but just you got to read that novella. It's
well, I mean, two reasons. One, it's a fucking short story, and that's always pleasant. And like, if you're an audiobook person like me, God, I'm trying to remember.
You know, it's not a massive book. You get through that in a weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, shit, like the audiobook,
it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like it's cramped. You know what I mean? You'll get through this in a weekend, no bother.
Yeah, let's see.
Like
Chet Williamson.
Yeah, like last minute.
Yeah, so if you get the audiobook, Chet Williamson, like, I'm a fan. Like, if you're into like horror and shit, he's pretty good narrator for that. Like he's done a lot of Brian Keane stuff. So it's, if nothing else, it's worth checking out like that way. It's pretty quick. I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. It's really easy to kill in a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So there you go, folks. That's our review. Hope you enjoyed it. Guys, what's going on in your channels?
Question. We're gonna be reviewing a book here in a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
That's
So
about
if you
it.
like to read, maybe come listen to a sci-fi review. Yeah, no, I've got I don't know. I don't have anything planned for one of my channels, and then I have way too much planned for another one of my channels. So I think just wait for me here.
Well, we've got another Dragonlance session coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, this weekend, yeah. Well, this coming weekend, yeah.
Coming weekend, yeah.
So that'll be good. So if you guys like fantasy and you don't want to be scared all the time, you know, come on over and watch us play a role-playing game that takes way, way, way too long.
Yeah, you can watch me struggle with my character. I'm still trying to figure out.
No, it's fun. Role-playing is fun. I mean, we did the Evil Dead role-playing game, which was dope as fuck on my channel, the Evil Live channel, which is great fun. And I'm hoping we can do another Call of Cthulhu game because that's a lot of fun. And like, there's just a lot of good stuff. So
yeah, just get time together and we'll get it done. So yeah, plenty to get on here. Links in the description, all that good stuff. Keep up to date with the channel, do the tidy clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.